Late one night, a young monk in the temple suddenly woke up, because of a stomachache, tiptoed out of the monastery, and intended to go to the toilet outside the temple. The night was pitch black. The faint moonlight shone down on the ancient stone path, so quiet that even the wind stopped blowing. On the way back to his room, the young monk accidentally passed by the meditation room of the abbot who liked to practice meditation, and vaguely heard strange sounds coming from inside the room. The man's deep breathing and the woman's suppressed sobs mixed together in the quiet night. The young monk's heart tightened. He wondered why there was such an unclean sound in the land of Buddha. The young monk couldn't help but tiptoe forward curiously, holding his breath to listen. He vaguely heard a private conversation between a young couple. The man's voice was the abbot's. The young monk quietly left, but his mind could not calm down for a long time. In the past few days, he had noticed that the villagers often gossiped. The abbot likes to be a schemer. Has an affair with a woman outside and has a child. During the day, the abbot appears to be gentle and kind, but behind his back, such a scandal happens. Full of suspicion and fear. He called the police and reported the abbot's behavior. After receiving the intelligence, the Fujian provincial police did not take immediate action, because it was a unilateral statement from a young monk, and could not be used as a basis for a search. The police secretly investigated the identity and background of this abbot. So who is this abbot, and what is his background? What mysterious story is going on in this temple? You are following the Thrilling Story channel, where we explore the most mysterious cases. The most thrilling stories, bringing you shocking criminal cases and notorious criminals. And as usual, before starting to decode the mysteries of today's case, please leave a like and a subscribe to support us. Thank you very much. We will return to the 90s of the last century to discover the story of Liu Yongxian, who was only 22 years old at that time. Coming from a poor family, this young man always had a strong will to succeed. After graduating from high school, he worked in his hometown. But when he witnessed many young people of the same age leaving the village to go to the city to make a living, Liu Yongxian also began to nurture his own plans. He decided to go to Tianjin alone to join the bustling flow of the bustling city to seek opportunities to change his life. Here, Liu Yongxian applied to work at a steel mill located in Jinghai district. This factory was founded by Mr. Xue Yinfu and his two younger brothers. Xue Yinfu was a decisive person, managing the factory as he pleased, but he was also somewhat arrogant. All daily activities were overseen by Director Xue Yinfu. Due to his low education level and difficulty finding a job, Liu Yongxian had to accept working as a common worker in the steel mill. At first, his life was very difficult, having to carry heavy steel bars every day, but the young man was always full of hope for the future. During this time, Liu Yongxian accidentally met a girl from his hometown. Their similar circumstances and difficult lives brought the two young people closer together. Not long after, the two decided to move in together and rely on each other. In order for his girlfriend to have more income, Liu Yongxian asked the director to let Lak Lak work in the factory. Although it was only a seasonal job, in return, the two could continue to live together in the dormitory. Although life was still difficult, they felt very peaceful. Liu Yongxian loved and pampered his girlfriend very much, not willing to let her suffer any disadvantages. When he found out that she liked a dress in the store, he secretly saved all his salary to buy it for her as a surprise gift. Liu Yongxian thought that as long as the two of them continued to work hard and save together, they would have a happy home. However, as time passed, he gradually noticed that his girlfriend began to change, dressing up more, wearing more luxurious clothes, and even wearing more expensive jewelry. At first, because he was absorbed in work, he did not pay attention to these things. Until one day, a co-worker revealed that he had seen his girlfriend entering and exiting the director's office many times. Liu Yongxian began to have doubts. His heart was in turmoil. That girl was no longer like the simple, rustic girls he thought he knew. During the 1995 New Year, Liu Yongxian took his girlfriend back to his hometown in Henan to celebrate the New Year. On a cold winter night, the two had a fierce argument on the dirt bed in the house. Unable to control his emotions, Liu Yongxian asked if Lak Lak had any relationship with the director. Why did someone see her entering and exiting his office? Being cornered. The girl burst into tears and revealed a shocking secret that left Liu Yongxian speechless. Liu Yongxian forced Luo right in the factory office. Hearing this, Liu Yongxian felt like the world was collapsing. Anger, humiliation, and helplessness intertwined and finally turned into hatred. On February 25, 1995, in a fit of rage, Liu Yongxian boarded the train back to Tianjin. In his mind, there was only one thought: to find Shui Yinfu to avenge what he had done to his girlfriend. When night fell, Liu Yongxian quietly went straight to Shui Yinfu's duty room, pushed the door open, and saw Shui Yinfu sleeping soundly on the bed. He had just picked up a thick, heavy steel plate from the corner of the room and used all his strength to hit Shui Yinfu. Waking up in excruciating pain, Shui Yinfu tried to resist, but was completely overwhelmed by Liu Yongxian's rage. The steel plate continuously fell on his body, finally hitting him straight in the head. Shui Yinfu's breathing gradually weakened and then stopped. Seeing the dark red blood staining the room, Liu Yongxian was shocked to realize that he had committed a heinous crime. He threw down the steel plate and hurriedly fled the scene. At this time, Liu Yongxian was almost desperate, and could only find a way to escape Tianjin. In the following years, he wandered everywhere, finally escaping to Hainan to live in seclusion under a fake name. He did all kinds of odd jobs to make a living. Every time he saw the police, or heard people mention the old murder case, he felt scared and uneasy. To escape the haunting guilt and the pursuit of the law, an idea gradually emerged in his mind. He thought that shaving his head and becoming a monk was the only way. One day, he asked an old man in the village where he could go to shave his head and become a monk. Seeing his disheveled hair and gloomy face, the old man sighed. "You are so young, but you are already thinking about becoming a monk." Liu Yongxian shook his head, trying to suppress the bitterness in his heart. Saying that he had gone through many changes, no longer had any desire for the secular world and only wished to rely on the Buddha's gate, seeking peace of mind. Touched by his confidences, the old man showed him the way to Taeyan Pagoda on the top of Saolang Mountain. He said there was a highly enlightened monk there who might take care of him. Liu Yongxian followed the mountain path, and finally found Taeyan Pagoda deep in the bamboo forest. The pagoda was beautiful, ancient, and majestic. On the stone tablet in front of the gate were engraved the 3 words Taeyan to entering the pagoda. He expressed his wish to shave his head and become a monk to the abbot. Seeing his sincere expression, the abbot finally agreed to give him the Dharma name Shizhenji. At that time, Liu Yongxian told the abbot that his name was Sun Xiaojie, but he had lost his birth certificate. He then spent 1,000 yuan to buy a fake certificate with the name Sun Xiaojie. The moment he shaved his head, Liu Yongxian looked at the image of the bald man wearing a grey monk's robe in the mirror and told himself that from now on, the name Liu Yongxian would no longer exist, only Shizhenji. However, shaving his head could not erase the fear and regret deep in his heart. Even though he had shaved his head, the crimes of the past were still imprinted in his memory. Shizhenji quickly integrated into Buddhist life. Thanks to his intelligence, eagerness to learn and diligence, he was loved by everyone. However, Shijunji was not willing to live a quiet and anonymous life in this small temple. With the support of the old abbot, he was sent to study at the Guangdong Buddhist Academy to exchange knowledge. During his years at the academy, Shijunji quickly absorbed a large amount of knowledge about Buddhist scriptures, and at the same time became acquainted with many influential figures in the community. Gradually building up his connections, he began to appear as a devout monk actively participating in major ceremonies. A few years later, Shijunji received news that the abbot had passed away. He hurriedly returned to Fujian and took up the position of abbot of Shiin Temple. From here, he began his life with a new spirit. With a broad vision, Shijunji gradually expanded the scale of Shiin Temple. He mobilized donations to restore the temple. At the same time, he also took on the position of Secretary General of the Fucheng City Buddhist Association, participating in religious activities, becoming an important figure in the local Buddhist community. His reputation quickly spread, and many followers respected him as a highly accomplished monk. However, behind those glories, the desires in Shijunji's heart gradually arose. He realized that, although his previous life was full of dangers and uncertainties, the feeling of pursuing power and desire still haunted him. In the summer of 2010, Shijunji leisurely walked on the streets of Fujian. Although he wore a monk's robe, he was not a real monk who wanted to escape from the world. On the contrary, his ambition and desire had never subsided. Amidst the bustling crowd, his eyes stopped at a young figure. It was Guo Xiaomai, a girl who had just graduated from university and entered society. Her delicate face and bright eyes exuded an angelic look. Shijunji approached her, using his profound understanding of Buddhism that he had accumulated over the years to converse with her in a gentle and profound manner. Guo Xiaomai felt that the middle-aged monk in front of her seemed to have a mysterious power that could understand the worries and concerns in her heart. He skillfully exploited Buddhist philosophy to comfort and encourage her, quickly winning the young girl's trust. After a few meetings, Shijunji began to preach to Guo Xiaomai about the purity and liberation of Buddhism, implicitly hinting that she could shave her head and become a nun to escape the troubles of the world. At first, Guo Xiaomai hesitated before Shijunji's sweet words and psychological influence, but in the end she agreed. She believed that the highly respected monk before her would lead her to find true peace of mind. However, Shijunji's motive was not that simple. Arranging for Guo Xiaomai to shave her head was just an excuse to bring her back to him, creating favorable conditions for private meetings. Shijunji let Guo Xiaomai stay at Shiin Temple. During the day, he maintained the teacher-student etiquette, but when night fell, he would sneak up on her, enjoying intimate moments. This secret relationship lasted for many years. To reassure Guo Xiaomai about the future, Shijunji promised all kinds of good things. He told her that as long as she was willing to follow him, she would have a prosperous life. At the same time, he secretly bought many real estates in Fujian to prepare for his future escape. As time passed, Guo Xiaomai gradually became his lover. She no longer wanted to live in a temple, but moved to Shenzhen and began to pursue her urban dream. Shijunji understood that with only the identity of a monk, he could not guarantee his future with Guo Xiaomai. In order to avoid exposing their relationship, he used the same trick again, buying another fake ID card named Liu Wei. Over the years, Sun Xiaojie was the fake name used in parallel with the Dharma name Shijunji, allowing him to freely travel all over the country. As for the identity of Liu Wei, it was so that he could legally marry Guo Xiaomai and build a stronger relationship. He no longer wanted his child to carry the surname of Sun. So he registered his marriage with Guo Xiaomai under the name Liu Wei. Thanks to a sophisticated plan with many layers of cover, Thich Chan Ko was able to move back and forth between many cities, using fake names to buy investors without anyone suspecting his true identity. As for Guo Xiaomai, with her monk husband's support, she has also completely transformed. She no longer has to be a nun, but settles down in Shenzhen, lives in a luxurious house with a full staff, buys a lot of branded clothes and handbags, and has a driver to pick her up and drop her off. Of course, Guo Xiaomai still occasionally uses her name as a nun to go to the temple with her husband. The two have successfully hidden the world, maintained a secret marriage relationship, and had 2 children together. In order to bring a prosperous life to Guo Xiaomai and her children, Shi Zhenji tries even harder to accumulate wealth. His ability to get rich is not inferior to any corrupt official. With the title of General Secretary of the Buddhist Association of Fucheng City, and abbot of many temples, he can ward off bad luck. The believers believe in him, competing to donate money, praying for him to bless their families with peace and a successful career. Those who like to speculate cleverly transfer this money into their own accounts, then use companies under their control to transfer and invest the money. He bought houses in high-end villas in Shenzhen, bought seaside villas in Fujian, and even owned real estate in Hong Kong. To conceal his assets, he registered all the real estate under Guo Xiaomai's name. And he deliberately lived a simple life, only driving an old car between the temple and the city center. Under his arrangement, Guo Xiaomai used this money to open a media company in Shenzhen and became a hidden tycoon. In the eyes of everyone, Guo Xiaomai was just a businesswoman with a comfortable life. No one knew that her husband was a monk who liked to speculate in Fujian. As time passed, those who liked to speculate became more and more convinced that their double-faced identities and complex network of relationships would never be discovered. However, the net of heaven was vast, but it was difficult to escape. Late one night, a young monk discovered the abbot's secret. He called the police and reported the abbot's actions. After receiving the report, they decided to secretly investigate the abbot's identity and background. After a long period of persistent investigation and pursuit, the police finally found clues about his true identity. However, the 1995 murder case happened 22 years ago. The Fujian police currently have no solid evidence to prove that the eminent monk, before their eyes, is the murderer from back then. Therefore, they decided to secretly investigate the identity and background of the monk, hoping to find enough evidence to bring him to justice. A policeman disguised himself as a worshipper and went to Xin Temple. He took the opportunity to steal the monk's cloth, shoes that were drying in the yard. After the DNA obtained from the shoes matched the DNA provided by Liu Yongxian's parents, the arrest was secretly launched. On November 23, 2017, the police of Tiandu District, Fujian Province, arrested the monk near Taiyuan Pagoda, ending the criminal's 22 years of hiding. In the interrogation room, faced with the undeniable evidence of the police, the monk had no words to justify himself. He admitted that his real Buddha body was Liu Yongxian. He admitted his crime in Tinghai District, Tianjin 22 years ago. After the monk fell into the net, Guo Xiaomai was also summoned by the police for investigation. When checking her marriage certificate, the police discovered that the husband's name was Liu Wei, not Tun Tu Keat. At this time, Guo Xiaomai was shocked to realize that the monk who had lived with her for many years was still hiding many shocking secrets. The case of the monk falling into the net shocked public opinion. Previously, he was a highly enlightened monk of the Buddhist Association of Fucheng City. He was a spiritual support for countless believers, but his true face was that of a fugitive murderer. At the trial, he bowed his head and admitted his guilt, expressing remorse for deceiving his believers. However, before the pain of the victim Tiandu Fuch's family, before the irreparable loss he caused, belated repentance is meaningless. Tiandu Fuch's younger brother tearfully denounced in court. Because of his selfishness and cruelty, my brother lost his life, my sister-in-law had to remarry. Our old mother died in resentment, the whole family was broken. Finally, the court sentenced Law Vin Hien to murder, sentenced him to death, with a 2-year reprieve. Later, he reformed well, and his sentence was reduced to life in prison. Thich Chan Company's life was one of upheaval, from a poor country boy to a high monk, then back to being a prisoner. His intelligence, boldness, and perseverance helped him overcome the early days of hiding, and quickly rose to become a prominent figure in the Buddhist community. However, his distorted thinking and disregard for means to achieve his goals pushed him down a path of sin with no way out. The path of life is long, but the path of cause and effect is even longer. He once thought he could escape, but 22 years later, he still had to pay the price. This is cause and effect. Retribution that spares no one. The story of Thich Chan Ko is a warning to everyone. No matter how carefully disguised, crimes cannot be hidden forever under the cloak of Buddhism. Good deeds will be rewarded, evil deeds will be punished. One day the truth will be revealed by the light, shining into the darkest corners. So today's case has ended. What do you think about this case? Leave your thoughts in the comments section below to discuss. And before leaving, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell to follow the next classic cases on the Thrilling Story channel.